Good morning, Dale.
How are you guys?
We're great.
I'm thirsty.
Man, honestly.
I'm thirsty for knowledge.
Thirsty?
Yeah,
Great.
I am.
What would you like to talk about? The Bible verse this morning?
That's you, mate. That's my segue I'm throwing
Thank
to
you. That's a good throw because we're looking at these. Well, for my work, the Auckland Church Network, we've got this devotional called The Daily, and the saying from the cross for this week that we're looking at is called "I thirst," and it's kind of like most of us that are familiar with the Bible. You know, maybe we do some devotionals, we read this, we read that. You might see that and you just think, okay, next bit. Like, you know, of course he was thirsty. Probably hadn't had a chai latte or a matcha latte that morning, you know, from the cross. He was suffering incredibly on the cross, right? But I think what's really cool for me is that these simple two words, they go deep. They go really deep into the human condition and our need for God. So at one level, it's like he's a human being who is thirsting and in need, right? And so, like, for example, we had the week start with Paul from World Vision talking about their humanitarian work with people that don't have access to clean drinking water. And so you have God in the person of Christ on the cross as a true human, identifying with the thirst, the literal poverty and thirst of people all around the world. So that's one level. And It's beautiful, and that is so gospel-connected stuff. At another level, there's like all the little thirsts that we have in life, thirsts for connection, a relationship, or success, or whatever, or pleasure. All these little thirsts that we have, and Christ identifies with that. But these thirsts point us to our ultimate thirst for God. And so you have the Son thirsting to be rescued by his Father, to be known. I thirst. And I mean, the scriptures like this come to mind, like Isaiah 55. You know, if you live in the scriptures, you'll see this theme of thirst just again and again and again. Isaiah 55. Everyone who thirsts, come to the water, and you who have no money, come buy and eat. Buy wine and milk without money and price. Why do you spend money for what is not bread, and your wages for what does not satisfy? So we have this deep longing to be fulfilled in God, you know. St. Augustine said, our hearts are restless until they rest in you. You know, put salt on my lips so that I might thirst for you. And so even, you know, all of our little thirsts point to our big thirst. Even our sins and failures point us to the fact that we are just reaching out ultimately for God.
Beautiful. By the way, we are trying to unpack John 19:28,
John 19.
when Jesus was actually on the cross.
Totally.
And he said those words, I am thirsty. When you take yourself to that moment, and you bang on with your explanation, and thank you for articulating it so well. He's in pain. He's humanized. He's human now.
That's right.
So I think, you know, when you're exhausted, when you're going through a lot of strain, and you're going through a lot of pain, often you're physically thirsty, right? And so that you need that to quench your thirst.
That's right.
So for me, I'm saying, well, God understands that, right? God understands your pain.
Yep.
He understands that you have to endure. He gets it. Am I on the right track?
Absolutely. I mean, it applies to so many different areas of life. Our ordinary day-to-day stresses and pains that you're talking about. Another connection that I really love is the father of modern psychology, Carl Jung. He had a relationship with the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, and they wrote this letter, and they were trying to understand one another and everything. And Carl Jung wrote to Bill Wilson. He said, the alcoholic thirst and crave for alcohol really points to the deep thirst for God, for union with God. You know, so whatever our addictions or struggles or desires or stresses, when we're just struggling with life or suffering or in pain, I think the pastoral word for us, all of us, myself and the listeners today, is pause and see the thirst and reach out to God to have that thirst quenched in that moment through God.
Yes and amen.
I need that.
Look at you.
I need it.
Oh, well, thank you for coming in.
I'll walk
because
out of the studio and I'll forget it in 5 seconds.
But it's a constant reminder, and you're reminding Tabby and I as well. And you've given some people some really good takeaways this morning. We appreciate you. You jumping in for
guys.
Holy Thursday next week?
Yep.
Okay, we'll see you next week. Thank you, DC.